I surprised my husband at work with lunch and found him kissing his secretary. When I asked why, he said coldly, "She respects me, unlike you." I took his laptop, revealed his embezzlement to HR, and walked out. Hours later, he banged on my door yelling, but then he saw who was standing behind me. I never thought I'd be writing one of these, but here I am. This happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'd lived there for almost a decade. My husband, Mark, and I had been together since our early 20s. I thought we were solid. Yeah, the past year had been tense, but I chalked it up to work stress, not a full-on betrayal.
It was a Tuesday.
A stupid, normal Tuesday. I'd made Mark's favorite lunch: turkey club, salt and vinegar chips, and a Diet Dr. Pepper. It wasn't a special day, or anything. I just missed him.
I wanted to do something nice.
We hadn't connected in weeks, and I thought maybe this would soften whatever wall had been between us. His office was downtown, 14th floor, sleek glass building. I'd been there before plenty of times. I waved at the receptionist, Lauren, who smiled like always. I didn't say why I was there, just headed straight to his door. That's when I heard it. Laughter. A woman's laugh. And not a casual work chuckle. It was that flirty, breathy kind. My stomach twisted. I pushed the door open. Slowly. He didn't see me at first. He was leaning over his desk. Jessica, his 20-something secretary, was sitting on the edge of it. His hand was on her knee. Their faces were close. Then he kissed her. Full-on kissed her. Deep, slow. Like they were alone in a hotel room. Not in a damn office at noon. I dropped the lunch bag. They jumped apart like teenagers getting caught. Jessica gasped. Mark looked at me. No shame in his eyes. Just annoyance. I stared at him, mouth dry. What the hell are you doing? He looked at me like I was the one who had walked in on his life. She respects me, he said, voice cold. Unlike you. I don't know how I didn't scream. Or cry. I didn't do either. I just stood there, shaking. Then I walked over to his desk, grabbed his laptop, and left. He didn't stop me. Not one word. Not one step toward me. I went home. Sat on the couch. Opened the laptop and started digging. It was all there. Password saved, no two-factor, like he thought he was untouchable. I found folders, emails, spreadsheets. For months, maybe a year, he'd been moving money. Padding invoices, redirecting funds, lying on reports. It was embezzlement. Plain as day. My hands were shaking, but my brain was clear. I copied everything. Sent it to HR with an anonymous tip. Gave names, dates, numbers. Then I packed a bag and left. I didn't want to see the fallout. Around 7 p.m., the banging started. Someone was pounding on my door like they wanted to break it down. It was him. His face was red, sweaty, desperate. What the hell did you do, Lisa? He yelled. What the F*** did you do? I didn't say anything. Because someone else did. A voice behind me said, "Is there a problem here?" Mark froze. Standing behind me was Detective Jordan Harris. He was an old friend of mine from college. We hadn't talked in years until last summer when I ran into him at the farmer's market. He worked in financial crimes. He was the real deal. He'd been over for dinner. I'd told him about Mark being distant, just venting. I didn't even know he'd kept that in mind. But when I sent the files to HR, I also forwarded a copy to Jordan. I didn't know what he'd do with it. Now I did. Mark's eyes darted from me to Jordan. "You set me up," he muttered. Jordan stepped forward. "We need to talk, Mark. Now." And that's where it starts to unravel. Jordan didn't arrest him right there. That's not how these things work, I learned. But he did tell Mark that he was under active investigation. That his laptop had been submitted as evidence. That there was a forensic accountant looking through every transaction. Mark's face turned ghost white. He tried to argue. "This is a mistake. You're blowing things out of proportion. This is my wife, my ex-wife, trying to ruin me." I said nothing. Just stood behind Jordan. Jordan stayed calm. He pulled a card from his coat. "If you want to talk, get a lawyer and contact me. Don't come back here again." Mark hesitated. He looked at me like he was about to beg. But then he saw something in my face. Maybe the dead calm. Maybe he realized this wasn't just a marriage problem anymore. He turned and walked away. That should have been the end. But people like Mark don't go down easy. 3 days later, I got a call from my boss at the small PR firm I worked at. Someone had sent them screenshots, doctored ones, of emails supposedly for me trashing the company and our clients. My boss called me into his office. I was lucky he trusted me. I explained what was happening. Showed him the real emails. Showed him proof that the ones he got were fake. I even showed him the police report Jordan helped me file about harassment. My boss was furious. Not at me, at Mark. Then the credit card bill started showing weird charges. Stuff I didn't buy. Flights, hotels, weird subscriptions. I knew what he was doing. Trying to bury me under suspicion. Trying to make it look like I was unstable. But I had already moved my money out. Opened new accounts. I froze my credit. I was ahead of him. Then one morning, I woke up to find my car keyed. Deep scratches all down the driver's side. A few choice words on the hood. I knew it was him. But there were no cameras in the lot. No witnesses. Nothing to pin it on him, just my gut. That night, I called Jordan. Told him everything. He asked, "Do you feel safe?" And that's when I realized I didn't. That's when I decided to go deeper. I wasn't just going to play defense anymore. Mark wanted to fight dirty. He had no idea who he was dealing with. I started gathering everything. Every text, every email, every petty trick he'd pulled. I bought a small notebook and logged every incident, time-stamped and detailed. I installed a Ring camera. I changed my locks. I kept copies of all communication on a hard drive hidden under the floorboard in the laundry room. I wasn't paranoid. I was prepared. And then came the next twist. Jordan called me one morning and said, "You're going to want to see this." He met me at a diner out on the edge of town. He slid a printed document across the table. My heart dropped when I read it. It was a private investigator report. Apparently, Mark had hired someone to follow me. He'd been trying to dig up dirt. Photos, locations, anything he could use to prove I was unstable or cheating to hurt my credibility during his potential trial. But Jordan had a contact in the PI world. One of them tipped him off. "You're officially not just the whistleblower now," Jordan said. "He's trying to flip the story." It made me sick. But then I got an idea. I called an old friend of mine, Tina. She used to bartend at a strip club downtown, the kind of place where a lot of corporate secrets got spilled after a few drinks. She owed me a favor from years ago when I helped her out of a bad situation. I asked if she'd ever seen Mark there. She laughed. "Seen him? Girl, he used to come in with a client named Russell every other Thursday. Spent hundreds. Sometimes brought Jessica." I asked if she could prove it. She sent me a photo that same night. It was grainy from the security cam behind the bar. But it was clearly Mark, clearly Jessica, clearly cozy. The timestamp? 2 weeks before the kiss I caught. He'd been cheating way before that day. I sent the photo to Jordan. And I kept digging. One of Mark's old coworkers reached out to me anonymously on Facebook. Said she left the company months ago because of him. Said he was abusive, manipulative, tried to ruin her career when she turned him down. She was scared to come forward, but she gave me screenshots. Messages from Mark. One of them said, "I can make people disappear from this company. Just ask my wife." That one hit hard. But it also gave me fire. I wasn't going to just help take him down for embezzlement anymore. Now, I wanted to bury his whole reputation. The trial took 6 months to build. Jordan worked the financial crime side. I kept feeding him everything I found, more documents, more messages, more people willing to talk. HR did a full audit of Mark's department. Turned out, he wasn't just embezzling. He'd pressured vendors into giving him kickbacks. Took company money to buy gifts for Jessica. Hid all of it behind falsified reports. But the worst blow came from within. Jessica flipped. She got scared when she realized the company might press charges against her too. She agreed to cooperate for a lighter sentence. She gave them everything. Emails, dates, times. Even a confession Mark had written her in a moment of panic. And suddenly, the case turned. He wasn't just a bad husband. He was a corporate criminal. But he didn't go down easy. Mark's lawyer tried to paint me as bitter. Said I only came forward because I was scorned. Said I violated his privacy by taking his laptop. My voice cracked on the stand, but I didn't let them shake me. I told them what happened, clear and simple. I told them what he said to me. She respects me, unlike you. The jury didn't take long.
Guilty.
Sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. But that's not where it ended. 2 weeks after the sentencing, I got another visit. From Jessica. She showed up at my door. I almost didn't open it, but she looked like hell. No makeup, trembling red eyes. She said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know everything he was doing. I really thought I loved him." I didn't forgive her. I didn't need to, but I listened. She handed me a manila envelope and said, "He asked me to keep this hidden, but after everything, you should have it." Inside were handwritten letters from Mark.
Journals, really.
Pages of cruel thoughts.
About me.
About his coworkers. About money and power. There was one line that stayed burned in my mind. "If Lisa ever crosses me, I'll make sure no one remembers her name when I'm done." Well, Mark,
People do remember my name.
and yours? It's a warning sign now. At every company you'll never work at again. And me? I got promoted 6 months later. I spoke at a conference about whistleblower protection. And when I walked off that stage, a dozen people came up to thank me. I'd helped them find courage. I made mistakes. I ignored the red flags. I stayed too long. I trusted too easily. But I walked away. I exposed the truth. And I didn't let him ruin me. He wanted me to feel small. Instead, I made sure the whole world saw exactly who he really was. And that's how I took everything back. One truth at a time.